case looks like the end is nigh. Brendan Paul, first of all, the feds are ready to rest their case. I repeat, the feds are ready to rest their case. On top of that, Brendan Paul is set to take the stand. What does that mean? Let me remind you guys, we are live outside the courthouse. Let me remind yourself who Brendan Paul is and why this spells the end for Diddy. This is 100% Judgment Day, okay? Now listen, the Fed's been said, we're ready to end our case on Wednesday. Mark Agnifilo told the judge that they're only going to take a week, right? And that they'll probably start Friday. Now, here's the thing. I want to call cap on that. The Diddy's team has almost everything they've told the court has been wrong, delayed, or denied. Now, maybe they're just incompetent, but I don't think lawyers charging $1 million a month are incompetent. I think they do what they can to kick the ball down the street, and then when the ball comes back, all of a sudden they got something to say, okay? There is no way. First of all, yesterday there was an expert witness, and don't get me wrong, Tinny Garagos was showing the other text messages and all this stuff. Great. So we're talking about a girl that was basically sex trafficked against her will and beaten brutally, and you talking about some text messages from 2008, 2009, talking about, oh my God, I love it. Okay, so, but one of the things that she did do that I didn't notice is when Judge Aaron, after he destroyed Diddy, saying, y'all better stop leaking stuff, right? After he destroyed Diddy, Judge Aaron said, yo, how long is your case going to take? Like, I don't expect to hold you to this, but come on, you got to give me something, because I got to write these jury instructions. These jury instructions could make or break a case. You guys have to give me your, usually the lawyers write the jury instructions. In federal court, the Fed writes them, but they give the jury time to actually say something. They give the prosecutor and defense a little bit of input, right? Anyway, the judge was like, listen, come on. We're going to have to wrap this up in like 3 to 5 business days, because at the end of the day, I need to write the jury instructions. I need to know if I need to work around the clock, I'll work around the clock. But if I can chill and slow walk that, I'd like to enjoy my weekend. I deserve to wake up early. Mark Agnifilo stood up and said, we expect to wrap up in 3 to 5 trial days. Now, I think that was a way to make the government not do its research. Because don't forget, the day before, Maureen called me and was like, Your Honor, we're going to need the defense to be for real. Hey, Danielle Foster, thank you so much for the Cash App. They were like, listen, Your Honor, we're going to need the defense to be a little for real. What does that mean? It means the fact that you're saying that your thing is only going to last 3 to 5 business days. However, you gave us a defense list of witnesses that even if you had till July 18th, there's no way you can get through those witnesses in 2 months. So how are you now saying with this witness list that you're only going to be 3 to 5 days? Why do I think they're doing that? Well, for a number of reasons. 1, I don't think they're prepared. 2, I don't think Diddy has a defense. But 3, this has been a trial by ambush. What does that mean? It means that, let's be for real, if they give them a whole list of witnesses, the prosecution has to do research to actually make sure that they have follow-up questions to the witnesses, that they look at their preliminary testimony and they find gotcha moments. Again, the prosecution gave the defense advance notice of what happens with the witnesses. And when you have advance notice of what happens with the witnesses, it's easier to get those gotcha moments. By giving them a list of 200 witnesses, that means they're doing all this research where people that might not even show up on the witness stand, which means it takes valuable time and research time away from the actual witnesses, which I think is the point. Again, if anybody thinks the law is fair, it can be fair. But it's the same way it is a game. There is some strategy. To win at football, you don't just go out there and whoever kicks the longest actually wins. No, you need that strategy also. Artist Fleetwood T said, thank you for all your hard work. Oh, it is my pleasure, Artist. And thank you for the super chat so early in the morning. So, I believe that they are trying to fake out the prosecution. I believe they want the prosecution to not be ready, to think they're going to cakewalk through this, to think they only have to prep for 5 days, and then they're going to come out with a 3-week witness thing, because they don't want them asking the witnesses follow-up questions. Again, something's not jiving. You said 3 to 5 business days, and you gave them a list of almost 200 witnesses. Okay, I don't know if it's actually 200, but Maureen Comey said it wouldn't be impossible, given the time constraints, to question each witness. It is literally physically impossible, right? Now, they did say that once the prosecution rests, they will give them their witness list. But you already know your witness list. And so Maureen Comey came back and said, well, how about this? How about you give us the names of the people that you're not going to use? How about that? Because I'm pretty sure you know who you're not going to use. And they were like, maybe, right? They still haven't produced anything. On top of that, the government said they were going to rest today. There's a chance they will, but let's also not forget that Tini Garagos' cross-examination of the summary witness, which linked up the text to the dates to the travel. People keep thinking that the thing was, she showed text that made it seem like Cassie was enjoying it. Excuse me, the whole point of the summary witness was to actually prove what? That they used company funds to book SMEX workers in hotels and fly them out over state lines, and that they themselves had booked under the direction of Sean Diddy Combs. The summary expert 100% proved that. This is not about whether Cassie was with it or not. SMEX trafficking is just one of the underlying crimes that could be used for Rico. However, there is bribery. They have that with Eddie Garcia. There is kidnapping. They have that with Capricorn Clark and Cassie. Kidnapping is either taking someone away to where they won't want to be or restricting their movement so they can't leave if they don't want to, okay? They have Jane Doe. There's obstruction of justice, the hidden cell phone. There is bribery. They can prove the RICO charge even while not proving that somebody was SMEX trafficked. I hate to tell you, but them are the rules. However, there is more than enough adequate evidence that even though Tini Garagos was showing text messages from 2009, girl, let's fast forward to 2015-16, where you were being dragged back to the hotel room. And let's take a look at those messages, because those messages were certainly saying, I'm not a rag doll, I'm somebody's child, you can't treat me like this, I don't want to do this. They also had to show the conspiracy. Who are the players? It showed KK had knowledge and was aware. It shows D-Rock had knowledge and was aware. Again, yesterday wasn't the most exciting day of testimony, but it was one of the most powerful, because that is where the RICO, and for people saying, I don't see the RICO, well, you were obviously not looking. Now, let's get into the Brendan Paul factor. Brendan Paul was actually supposed to testify yesterday, and the feds, when Judge Aaron was asked Mark, okay, so who you got? If you're gonna, because the government's like, we're gonna arrest Wednesday, Your Honor, right? And and that's the thing, the government should not be telling that to the judge, because every time they say that, all of a sudden the defense slow walks the cross-examination. Why? Because I believe that they are 100% trying to run out the clock. Now, why would they be trying to run out the clock? Because what else do they have to do? What else do they have to do? Their goal is to throw off the prosecution. Their goal is to bore the jury into submission. Big Yella said, good evening, all the way down from Indonesia. Love you. Thank you, Big Yella. Shout out to Indonesia. So they were supposed to rest today. There's a chance they still might. But because of that long cross-examination, they have one more federal witness, and then they have Brendan Paul set to take the stand. Now, the defense said that they had 3 people that were going to testify on Friday. They did not sound sure at all. I am telling you, I think they are trying to run the clock out so they can start their defense thing either on Monday, and if they're lucky, on Tuesday, even though I think Tuesday is going to be a stretch. That is their plan, because I honestly feel like they are not prepared in the way that, what is the defense? I did all that, but she enjoyed it. You realize there is RICO outside of SMEX trafficking, and you don't need SMEX trafficking to prove RICO. Just moving the prostitutes is enough for RICO. You don't need to prove SMEX, even though moving prostitutes, anyway. Let's get into this, right? So why are we talking about the Brendan Paul factor? The Brendan Paul factor is really, really important, right? Now, if you guys don't know, Brendan, he's a former Syracuse University basketball player, okay? He was arrested in the Miami Opa Local Executive Airport, the private airport, on felony drug charges. I remember back then I said, y'all, they're going to get Brendan to flip. He comes from a very affluent family. They're going to get Brendan to actually, good morning. Hey, how are you? I was like, they're going to get Brendan to actually flip. All right. Somebody said, no, you don't understand. He got out on the ARD program or something like that. And I said, let me tell you something. When the feds are trying to flip your balls for rug trafficking and Rico, and they catch you with rugs on you, they are 100% either going to throw the book at you or said, you better start singing like a canary. Clearly, Brendan started singing like a canary. Good for him. Let's normalize people singing like canaries, okay? So anyway, he had suspected Coca-Cola and marijuana edibles in his luggage, just like Little Rod said he would. Okay, so listen. In December 2024, the felony drug charges against Brendan were dropped after he completed a 6-month pre-trial diversion program. The feds are not offering you that unless they're bad. And yes, that is a gift when you are involved in a possible Rico, okay? Listen. Now, here's the thing. He's going to testify at Diddy's trial. Brendan Paul could be the person that actually ends Diddy. What is he actually going to testify? Well, let's think about it. Cassie was old. Jane Doe, when I say old, like, years past, from 2015-16. Jane Doe offered a link to the future, but from the woman's perspective, okay? What did Brendan Paul do? Brendan Paul knows the insides. KK is trying to play stupid. D-Rock, I don't think is security anymore and he's stupid. KK and all these people, including the current security, is trying to play stupid. We didn't know. I think this is some type of deal that Diddy made with them in order for them not to flip on him. We'll just say, you didn't know, I'll keep you out of my business. You don't have to worry about being involved in this Rico. Wrong, because Brendan Paul is the thing that can change anything. One, the drug charge, 100% Rico. Okay, 100%. Two, because he was the person that was putting edible gummies so Diddy can feel yummy in his mouth, right? And all this other stuff. He also was a supplier for a lot of the girls, a lot of the freak offs, a lot of the Wild King nights, a lot of the hotel nights, whatever you want to name it, okay? But more than that, Brendan Paul has distinct inside information about Diddy, his organization, and what knowledge people have. Why is that so important? Well, God, this mosquito! Sorry, I'm looking at this mosquito bite. Why is that? And it got me right here too. Ugh. Why is that so important, okay? How is there mosquitoes and I'm on the umpteenth floor? Like, mosquitoes, ugh. But here's the thing, right? Brendan has inside knowledge about how the organization looked. KK can no longer say she didn't know when KK was ordering Brendan to do stuff. Brendan heard everything, saw everything. He was Diddy's shadow because Diddy needed that Tucci. Diddy needed those gummies. Diddy needed all that stuff. Brendan Paul was, in fact, Diddy's shadow. Yes, those dang mosquitoes. Brendan Paul, and why are they always biting me on my face? I'm going to start I don't care if I get cancer. I've been trying to go natural. I'm going to get some DEET and just rub it on my face. I don't care if it's cancer in 50 years. I have to stop the scourge and kill the bloodline of the mosquitoes. Okay, that's enough of my anti-mosquito rant, right? So the whole point of the matter is Brendan ties everybody. He had distinct knowledge about what was going on in the business. He had distinct knowledge about people's other knowledge. He can tell who ordered him, who was directed, who was everything. Brendan Paul is the final nail in Diddy's Rico string, right? Listen, Brendan Paul is the final nail in Diddy's Rico plans, in Diddy's Rico scheme, and he cannot deny it. I know Diddy is mad. They're doing everything they can do to delay Brendan Paul's testimony. They don't want to hear what they have to say. I want to see how they're going to come and actually call him a liar, right? I want to see how they're going to come and actually call him a liar, because at the end of the day, there's nothing they can say. He has current text messages. Don't forget, KK coordinated directly with Brendan Paul, right? KK coordinated directly with Brendan Paul. Let me repeat this. KK coordinated directly with Brendan Paul. When KK was also coordinating and barking out orders to all these other people, including what to do with Jane and all these boyfriends, all the girlfriends and all the this and all that, Brendan was there. For the freak-offs, Brendan was the one, I'm guessing they're going to testify, that he was in charge of supplying the rugs for the freak-offs. Brendan was the one in charge of delivering them. Brendan was the one in charge of getting on the plane and shipping them to them. Brendan is going to tie all this together in current time and away from the organization. I don't think people realize how strong a final witness Brendan Paul is, and while they are ending on Brendan Paul, because Brendan Paul 100% through his testimony will prove Rico, and I'm guessing maybe even sex trafficking, but definitely Rico through the Combs Global Entertainment and Bad Boy Entertainment organization once and for all. So let's talk about the naysayers, right? Because this weekend, or maybe even tomorrow because we have the day off, I might do it. Is it Rico? But let's talk about the naysayers. And by the naysayers, I do honestly think bots. What is going on with the naysayers, okay? You don't see Rico. Brendan Paul is proving Rico. You don't need sex trafficking. You can say you don't see sex trafficking, but you don't need sex trafficking for the Rico, especially when Diddy was engaged in illegal behavior. It's a lifestyle. Hiring escorts is illegal. Drug use is illegal. Drug smuggling, mule, all that stuff, it is illegal. And the fact that people's Diddy supporters are all trying to act like we live in Sodom and Gomorrah, almost everything you were doing was illegal, and you had your employees, you had your company money, you had all that. So what are we looking for, right? Brendan Paul proves Rico. Rico can send Diddy away between 20 and 40 years. And baby, you don't need the sex trafficking for it. Sex trafficking is just one of the crimes, and there's like a billion crimes that Diddy's committed. You just need at least 2 criminal predicate offenses. Those are underlying criminal offenses to get it going, okay? Rico carries 20 years to life, minimum federal sentencing, okay? Obstruction of justice. Obstruction of justice is an underlying predicate crime for Rico. However, they have Diddy with obstruction of justice on quite a few times. 1, that's why he's parked in jail. But 2, that hidden phone, whether it helped him or not, it doesn't matter. The point is you concealed it, you hid it, and you lied to the government. That is 100% obstruction of justice. That carries another 5 to 20 years on top of whatever you get to Rico, okay? Now, you add in the sex trafficking, which you only need 1 count, and I believe they have proven. You are now looking at bare minimum 55 years. Diddy is only 60, and baby, I have seen the way he be walking in. I don't think, well, then again, he is faking. But does he have another 55 years on this earth, and he's already 60? You think Diddy's gonna live to 110? I saw life. Baby, that is his best case scenario, that he turned out like Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy. With side note, I was talking to my friend Todd, and he was like, Diddy looks like Martin Lawrence character from Life without the sunny disposition, you know? Now, here's the thing. You have that. Let me just say this, right? A lot of people have been messaging me and be like, oh my God, you don't understand the law. It's going to be a mistrial. And so what? So what? So what? Even if it is, Diddy does not go free. If he gets a mistrial, he stays parked in the MDC. A mistrial doesn't mean that mofo goes back home and then he can have another. No, listen, he can have another bail hearing, but the facts haven't changed on why he is parked in the MDC through his own arrogance. You know, at the end of the day, all of Diddy's things, I know this is killing him, has been through his own arrogance and missteps. Think about it. Him losing his freedom is because he came to New York and he started engaging in obstruction of justice because he's dirty and he thinks that on a state level, nobody ever noticed, but the feds were just sitting there watching him like, yeah, get him out of here. So you think about your house getting raided. That was your arrogance of not paying Little Rod the money that you rightfully owed him. You literally thought it was more important to tell him, get the F out of here, I'm not giving you ish. Why? Because this is the way that Diddy does business. Why pay when you can steal? Why show respect when you can disrespect? Why actually respect someone when you can treat them like they're dirt under your feet? Because of that, Little Rod sued you, and in Little Rod's lawsuit, they gave you the blueprint for the raid. Cassie, you know what you did to that girl. Even if you can say, oh, well, it was DV, you know what you did to that girl. You know you got her hooked on stuff. You know you beat her like a rag doll. You know that this girl still has brain damage from all your beatings. And guess what? I talked to people that were on the scene back then, and they said Cassie's lawsuit is 0.01% of the ish he used to do to her. The way she was getting greeted, the brutality he showed on her, the way he treated her, there's something mentally wrong. All he had to do was apologize to Cassie and pay her off privately. That's it. The same thing, but he didn't. He literally, I think Cassie came to him with the lawsuit in the early quarter of 2023. He literally was playing with her the whole time. The whole time. It wasn't until people say that BET Awards when he was like, yeah, Cassie, love. Right? That she was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm not going to be a victim anymore. I'm not going to do this. Let's go to court. And she said, I don't even want to settle. Let's take that mofo to court. Hey, Mel. Mel said, I feel today testimony will probably be a shocker. I do too. Tippy Belva said, get the mosquito repellent bracelet, hun. I'm in the sip. They're the size of birds. Oh, really? Tippy, I'm going to do that. Love your tea. You know what? I'm going to get the mosquito repellent bracelet and sleep with it like this over my, hope it doesn't cause brain cancer, because that's going to be literally, I'm going to put it on my forehead and go to sleep. My whole point of the matter is all of Diddy's misfortune, all the ways his empire is crumbling is because his arrogance outweighed any other thing. Why didn't you settle with Cassie? Why didn't you do that thing with Little Rod? Why didn't you just actually do the right thing? And even when it came to even standing trial, he could have been running the trial of the century. I believe that if he was outside, there are enough gullible people that he probably would have either been able to get off or done a bunch of PR stuff, but he couldn't help himself. Because at the end of the day, his arc bends to injustice. Fanny G said Diddy is done and he knows it. Enough evidence to convict him. Next case, Tyler Perry. Bless you, Tisa. Oh, if you guys are worried or wondering about the Tyler Perry case, I did like a full legal analysis. We looked through some of the charges. It's gonna have to be a part 2 because there were a lot of charges, a lot of things. It read like a Tyler Perry novel. But yeah, I don't know, Tyler. Tyler better settle this. He better settle this because it's not a good look at all. But getting back into the Diddy stuff, y'all. Oh, also, hold on. What's this? You guys, we have merch. Andrew said, love you, Tisa. You guys, we have merch, we have mugs, we have notebooks, we have tote bags, we have Yana Diddy Did It t-shirts. We have so much merch. Make sure you guys hop over to the merch store. There is a pink pin linked in there. Right now, I'm in court, just, you know. I'm in court. I'm in court right now doing my thing, but my whole point is we 100% have merch. So if you guys want to support, if you want a Diddy, and don't forget, when Diddy's convicted, the Diddy Did It merchandise is going to be timeless. Also, I am going to start doing a few more true crime things. And don't forget, I am going to be on Nancy Grace all this week. Make sure you check it out. Of course, I stopped by again, ABC Live and Nightline. I have a few other things coming out, but I'm going to keep it hush until they actually air because, you know, I might end up on the cutting room floor. You never know. Don't forget, I've been featured in the Hollywood Reporter. Please go check out those. And, of course, the fall of Diddy. I was featured in that documentary too. A lot of great things coming up for 2025. Please support your girl. I will appreciate it. And also, don't forget, when the prosecution does rest their case, we are going to do a wrap-up where I will have some great experts on to talk about where they think the case is, and I will push back. I will push back and be your voice and really push them and hold their feet to the fire with whether they are pro Diddy going to jail or against Diddy going to jail, but to make sure that they can actually support the conclusions they're saying without just spouting legal jargon. Do you know what I'm saying? Yana, the t-shirts are there. My whole point of the matter is Brendan Paul is a game changer. And even with Brendan was a basketball player who wanted to be a producer. He met Diddy. Diddy did what he did, promised him all this stuff, and he ended up being Diddy's drug mule. Again, the Rico, the conspiracy, KK's involvement, security's involvement, that is going to be proved today. And people are saying that Brendan Paul's testimony is going to be a mic drop moment. And the funny thing is, they can't turn this around on Brendan Paul. He was not a mastermind. He didn't have any power. He was just a young kid that bought what Diddy was selling, and now he out here getting caught up, right? My bag's not on the floor. Don't worry, guys. My bag's not on the floor. My bag is not on the floor. It is hanging up. Don't worry. There is a thing to hang it up. I've been in New York long enough to know don't put anything on those streets. Diddy might be sending those rats and roaches from his cage to do recon. So where does this leave us, okay? Brendan Paul should be the mic drop moment, okay? Brendan Paul should be the person that brings Diddy down. Brendan Paul, merch, Brendan Paul will be the person that brings Diddy down, and they're saying the prosecution is ending on a mic drop moment. The defense claims they're going to start Friday. I don't think so. I think they're going to slow drag it. Don't forget there is no court tomorrow because of Juneteenth. But we will be going live on Is It Rico. I'm going to take the crimes. I'm going to take what the predicates are. I'm going to point to all the witnesses' testimony. And again, saying somebody enjoyed it is not a defense. Saying you didn't know is not a defense. Saying you handed somebody a paper bag full of $100,000 cash and you work for them and you're doing the tax is not a defense. Don't fall for what these social media, and again, I get it, I'm social media too, but at the end of the day, and I'm going to get some sample jury instructions and we're going to go over them because I want to explain to everybody how the jury process actually works. And again, there is a chance that there is a mistrial, that one juror will be like, I don't care. Look what happened to Weinstein. That fool came out and said, I felt threatened because someone was like, if you don't stop, we're going to knock your block off. Let us go home, right? Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, I got to go in. All right, guys. It was great talking to you. Bye.